One of the best ways to increase your knowledge of the Scriptures is to use a study Bible. The author's notes add depth and understanding to difficult passages, and many times gives us a fresh perspective that we never even noticed before. Now, I'm sure that some of you have an English study Bible, of which there are many excellent versions. However, since our goal here is to learn and improve our Spanish, our Español, it would be of great benefit for you to obtain a Spanish study Bible. Now today I will go over the John MacArthur Spanish Study Bible that I've been using since 2012. Now, I truly believe that this will be a very helpful review, so stay with me. Saludos familia and welcome to Misionali. My name is Roberto and this is where we learn Spanish through the Bible. If you haven't already done so, por favor, like, subscribe, and share this video with others. Now, since the MacArthur Spanish Study Bible first came out in 2011, more versions have been completed. In fact, I will soon do a review of the latest Spanish Study Bible by John MacArthur, as well as a review of a new and absolutely fantastic study Bible that I just started using, so stay tuned for that. For now, mis amigos, iniciemos. Let's begin. The version I have is a bonded imitation leather, and it seems to be holding up pretty well. Now, honestly, I thought that it might start coming apart by now since there really is no stitching around the edges. And the inside cover looks to be simply glued to the imitation leather. Now, there is some stitching across the middle that goes across the binding and the back cover. So I suppose that is helping to maintain some of the integrity of the Bible. The measurements on this particular version are 9.5 inches tall, 6.5 inches wide, and 2 inches thick, and it weighs just a little over 3 pounds. Now, although it's a little worn, you can see that the page gilding is gold. Also, for those of you that like the thumb index, so it's a little easier to find the different books of the Bible, they have that version as well. You'll also find numerous types of covers, like the soft cover and hard cover, and different leather types, as well as different colors. The title of this study Bible is Biblia de Estudio MacArthur, and it's published by the Nelson Group and uses the Reina Valera 1960 version of the Bible. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you know that I'm not a huge fan of this particular translation because it uses an older, more antiquated Spanish that isn't normally used in everyday conversation in Latin America. Plus, it uses the vosotros plural form, which is really only spoken in Spain. However, the notes and other portions of the study Bible are absolutely outstanding, so I still highly recommend it. So now, let's go over some of the highlights while at the same time practicing some of our Español. Contenido means content, and here you will see the various sections described as well as a list of each book of the Bible. A good exercise would be to repeat each book of the Bible with the mini preamble Introducción a. For example, Introducción a Génesis, Introducción a Éxodo, Introducción a Levítico, and so on. I did a video on the pronunciation of all the books of the Bible in Spanish, so I'll leave a link below in the comments. Here we have el índice de tablas y mapas, the index of tables and maps. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of them, so let's take a peek at just a few. In the book of Génesis, we have la cronología del diluvio, the chronology of the flood. There are 9 points listed here with a biblical reference to each one. As you read, you'll see some repeated words and phrases that will help you learn and remember your Spanish. For example, you see en el año 600 a few times. That means in the year 600. Noé means Noah. So as you read these repeated words, you start to get an idea of what the sentence means or who it's talking about. Next, we have la ruta del éxodo, the Exodus route. Now, most of the names look very similar to their English counterparts. You just need to give them a Spanish pronunciation. For example, this word looks like Egypt, so you know what country this is specifically referring to. The pronunciation is Egipto, Egipto. Obviously, this word is referring to the Mediterranean Sea. The correct pronunciation for this one is Mar Mediterráneo. Mar Mediterráneo. So, I have no doubt that you'll be able to figure out what these words are referring to. You just need to practice the pronunciation. ¿De acuerdo? Muy bien. Now, let's look at an example from the New Testament. Los milagros de Jesús. The miracles of Jesus. Now, this isn't the whole list, but to make my point, I've grabbed just a section here. You see the 4 Gospels across the top. Mateo, Marcos, Lucas, y Juan. To the left, the miracles are enumerated. Again, you see repeated words. Let's take this word, sanidad, which means healing. So now you know that these particular miracles refer to the healing of someone. Plus, you have the verse reference so you can read the entire description of the healing. Let's go back to the beginning of the Bible. Here we have Introducción a la Biblia. Now you can easily figure out that this means Introduction to the Bible. Now, as you read this, I would have an app like SpanishDictionary.com open on your phone or tablet and look up some of the words that you don't know or recognize. For example, let's say I'm reading this part. Estos documentos están divididos en 2 testamentos. Because of the similarity to their English counterparts, I can easily figure out that documentos is documents, divididos is divided, and dos testamentos is 2 testaments. Easy enough. So this has to do with documents being divided into 2 testaments. Let's keep going. El Antiguo Testamento y el Nuevo Testamento. Easy enough. I can deduce that this is the Old Testament, which has 39 books, and the New Testament, which has 27 books. Profetas, sacerdotes, reyes y líderes de la nación de Israel. Okay, I can figure out that profetas is prophets, and that líderes de la nación de Israel is leaders of the nation of Israel. But what is sacerdote? Well, let's plug that in. Okay, it's a priest. Got it. What about reyes? That means kings. So now I can easily figure out what the whole sentence means. And you can simply keep doing that as you read along. Before you know it, you're understanding most of what you're reading in Español. And that, mis amigos, is very exciting. However, as a caution, if you do every single word that you don't recognize, it will become very tedious and overwhelming. So limit yourself to about 5 or 10 words at the most a day. And then the next day, for example, reread la Introducción a la Biblia, noting the new words that you now recognize, and then add a few more words. Each time you read it, it will become more and more clear. ¿De acuerdo? Muy bien. This view here gives you an idea of the amount of information contained on each page. Now, there are other sections here in the opening portion of the study Bible that are well worth reading. Notas personales, personal notes. ¿Cómo obtuvimos la Biblia? How we got or obtained the Bible. ¿Cómo estudiar la Biblia? How to study the Bible. You also have Introducción a la edición en español, Introduction to the Spanish edition, and La Reina de las Versiones en Castellano, literally, the Queen of the Castilian versions. Let's go to El Antiguo Testamento, the Old Testament. Here you have a very nice Introducción al Pentateuco, Introduction to the Pentateuch. Una armonía de los libros de Samuel, Reyes y Crónicas, a harmony of the books of Samuel, Kings, and Chronicles. And Introducción a los Profetas, Introduction to the Prophets. One of my favorite parts of the study Bible is the introduction to each book. For example, here we have El primer libro de Moisés, llamado Génesis, the first book of Moses called Genesis. Now, each book will contain 6 sections in the introduction. Título, title, autor y fecha, author and date, contexto histórico, historical context, temas históricos y teológicos, historical and theological themes, retos de interpretación, interpretive challenges, and the bosquejo, the outline. Now, MacArthur's outlines are very thorough and they really help you see the big picture of the entire book. However, as a side note, not all of the outlines are as thorough. For example, the one for números is pretty short, as is the one for Esther. Obviously, it does depend on the size of the book and the material contained within it. But in general, his outlines are very good, and I have found them extremely helpful. So now, let's take a look at a book in the New Testament. Here we have La Epístola de Pablo a los Efesios, the Epistle of Paul to the Ephesians. You will see the same 6 sections, but this one actually includes a map of the city of Ephesus. Again, you have a very nice bosquejo that clearly outlines the topics covered in this epistle. Finally, let's look at the actual study notes. For my example, I'm going to use the Gospel of John, as the notes for this book are absolutely outstanding. Now, not all of his notes are this thorough, but you will find numerous examples like this all throughout the Bible, and they are pure gold. Here we have 7 verses at the top of the page with some cross-references. The bold number designates the verse reference, and then you have the cross-references listed right below it. Now, notice that the majority of this page is strictly notes. This section of the notes has an overview of the first 18 verses of chapter 1. And then you will have a bold verse number as well as bold words to indicate the verse and the words that are being supplemented. For example, here in verse 1 we have en el principio, in the beginning, and the notes that go with those words. Next we have era, was, and the notes that go with that word. Then we have el verbo, the word, and the notes pertaining to those words. And as you can see, this is the pattern that is followed throughout the rest of this gospel, as well as in all the other books of the Bible. Now, sometimes in the center column, you will see additional cross-references, as well as some notes. The text size is 8-point, and the note size is 7-point. Now, the verses are still fairly manageable at this size, but the note size can be just a little challenging. Now, if you have good eyesight, then the notes are no problem. If you're past 50, like me, then you will probably need some glasses. But mi familia, don't let that hold you back. Make the necessary adjustments and dig deeply into these notes along with your own notes and observations. It will be well worth it. Te lo prometo. I promise you. Let's briefly look at one more book. Here we have La Epístola de Pablo a los Romanos, the Epistle of Paul to the Romans. Again, you have your 6 sections, and this one also has a very nice map. The outline is not as robust as some of the others, but it is still very helpful. However, take a look at the quantity of notes for these verses. There is an abundance of information that will greatly supplement your study of God's Word en español. At the end of the Bible, you will have your índice temático, thematic index, which is basically 182 pages of a concordance. You also have a 1-year Bible reading plan and a very helpful Estudio Panorámico de Teología, which basically means an overview of theology. As a final thought, you may have noticed through our review today that there are no color pages in this entire study Bible. The only exceptions are a few maps at the end of the Bible, which are printed on a little heavier cardstock. But that wasn't a deal breaker for me because what I really wanted were MacArthur study notes and his articles. Well, mis amigos, I pray that you enjoyed our time together and that you now have a very good idea of the benefits of owning the Spanish MacArthur Study Bible. Now, I didn't cover every single detail of this wonderful resource, so if you have any questions or comments, por favor, leave them down below. Also, I will leave a few links to the study Bible that you can follow if you decide that you want to purchase it for yourself. Now, I truly believe that this resource will be a magnificent blessing and addition in your life, as it has been in mine for the past 12 years. Again, if this video has been helpful, por favor, like, subscribe, and share it with others. Finally, if there's a particular Spanish Bible or Spanish Study Bible that you would like me to review, then again, por favor, note that as well. Until next time, may the Lord bless you abundantly. Amen.